Hey everybody, it's Mark, Dr. Deadwax, and it's time for a new series. This is called Out of the Inbox, and this is Out of the Inbox 1. To start this off, Old Rasputin Russian Imperial Stout from North Coast Brewing Company out of California. So, I was going to film this the other day, but I started watching Tony, Mr. Fartboy's recent vinyl finds, and he said at the beginning that it was going to be a quick one. So, anyways, 37 minutes later it was over, so I didn't have time to film this then. But that Mrs. Fartboy, she's a lucky lady. So I've always had a recent Vinyl Finds video, and it's not really terribly accurate because I have stuff in those videos that's 4 years old. I mean, stuff, I buy it, it goes in the inbox. So I started the new series after the dig. That's the stuff that I bought most recently. And now my other new series, it's called Out of the Inbox, and I'm going to clean, play, audition, talk about 5 records each time. This is the first one, and this one's all jazz. So if you're a jazz hater, see you now. First up is David Murray, Ming's Samba. And this is, Ming refers to David Murray's wife. So this is a 1989 release on Portrait. This was his first kind of major U.S. label release. I've listened to a lot of David Murray over the years. I had about 25 albums of his needle dropped that I got off the World Wide Web years ago off using that. And listened to a lot of them. And I think Murray's a great player. I really do. I just find a lot of the stuff of his that I listen to, it's good. It's not outstanding. And this is another one. This is good. It's a good listen. It's modern jazz. It's sometimes a little bit free, sometimes a little bit more traditional. Sometimes it's got those elements mixed together. But this is just okay. I'll listen to this again. Like, it's not leaving me, but it's not essential. Let's just put it that way. Next up is this is more trad standard jazz. This is Milt Jackson with the Ray Brown Big Band, Memphis Jackson, and this is an ABC Impulse recording. This is called the University Series of Fine Recordings. It's very serious. Your standard Impulse label. A little bit later, the ABC Impulse label. Nothing sexy in the Deadwax. This is not a Van Gelder or anything like that. Just plain old release. So, I mean, if you're looking for anything that's pushing any kind of boundaries, this is not the kind of jazz record you want. If you like just kind of straight ahead traditional jazz in a big band style, but a little bit more bop than just straight big band like Glenn Miller big band. Okay, then this is a good one for you. It's got just amazing players on it. Ray Brown, of course, and he puts together a great all-star band. I have another record of his with Nat Adderley, and that is just another great kind of like almost stage band, like mini big band kind of stuff. And same deal goes for this. One Mint Julep, Oh Happy Day, Memphis Junction, Queen Mother Stomp, Braddock Breakdown, A Sound for Sawyers, Enchanted Lady, One Mint Julep the Other Way, and Picking Up the Vibrations. And if you like Milt Jackson, which I don't incredibly like Milt Jackson, I don't incredibly like Vibes, but this, again, this is really well done. I can recommend it for someone who's looking for maybe something more traditional in jazz. Not a huge fan of not a huge fan of Gary Burton, but every so often I buy all the Gary Burton records, and every so often there's one that's just outstanding. I buy most of the Milt Jackson records. I see if they're in good condition, and every so often one is pretty outstanding. This is a pretty damn good record. Cheers. That's a nice step. Next is an ECM record. This is Leo Smith, Divine Love, ECM 1143. So 1978, this was recorded. 1979, it was released. This is, ECM's been around for a decade by now almost. Just your standard US pressing on a standard ECM label. Again, nothing overly interesting in the dead wax. This is kind of somewhat free, somewhat avant, somewhat ethnic, world, tribal. Has these kind of African sound motifs at times, and Asian sound motifs at times, and it's got a couple guest players. Charlie Hayden plays bass on one of the songs, and Lester Bowie and Kenny Wheeler play trumpet along with Leo Smith on one of the songs. 3 songs. Divine Love takes up the entire first side. Tastelin, dedicated to Lester Bowie, takes up side 2, and that's the one that Lester Bowie played, or is on side 2. And Spiritual's Language of Love is also on side 2. So, kind of ranging all over the place musically, like I said, kind of ethnic, African, Asian influences, free, avant, slightly at moments straight ahead. Lots of open space, lots of room in the music. It's quite a listen. I have to say I recommend it. It needs to be listened to a few times, but it definitely has some astounding moments. Next, Paul Motion Trio, Dance. Another ECM. This is ECM 1108. This is 1978, so the exact same time period as that one, a year earlier. Another US pressing. This one is mastered by Masterdisc into dead wax. But it doesn't have a signature from RL or anybody. So I'm not sure who did it, but it is mastered by Masterdisc. This is a stunningly interesting record. Just Chris Astral Traveler showed this in a recent, Chris John Coltrane 60. It's so confusing. He had that legal name change, and I didn't get notification from the post office. This is just fantastic. This is free and avant and wonderful, and when Motion does it right, he really hits it out of the park. And this one is just, this is a fantastic record. Paul Motion on drums, David Izenzon on bass, and Charles Brackeen on soprano and tenor saxophone. This just works so well. And this is a great cover image for the music too. Can't recommend it enough. And finally, Miles Davis, Fil de Kilimanjaro. This is a transition record for Miles. The first record of his transition into electric/fusion. This is fucking monster. This is if people talk about Miles Davis records, they don't often talk about this. This is a second pressing, 1A, 1D stampers. The first pressing has the Columbia 2i in the U.S. This is a U.S. pressing. If you're looking for a first pressing, I'm looking for a first pressing because this is fantastic. But this is a mint perfect copy to do me until then. This has Miles Davis on trumpet, Wayne Shorter on tenor sax, Herbie Hancock on piano, Ron Carter on bass, and Tony Williams on drums. And on 2 or 3 of the songs, Chick Corea replaces Herbie Hancock and Dave Holland replaces Ron Carter on bass. Like, the lineup is to die for. This is just killer shit. And the Hancock that's not going to go back in right now. The Hancock Ron Carter stuff is the stuff that's a little bit more fusiony, and the Chick Corea Dave Holland stuff is the stuff I thought was a little bit more traditional. Mademoiselle Mabry, for example, and that is dedicated to Miles's wife. So a couple of records where the songs are dedicated to their wives. You know, people talk about Kind of Blue, and they talk about Bitches Brew, and they talk about... People don't always talk about this. And I got this for $7. Like, it's a monster. It's a 10 for sure. And more people should talk about it. And grab it if you see it. Grab it. Don't leave it behind. So that is the first episode of Out of the Inbox. Miles Davis, Field de Kilimanjaro, Paul Motion, Dance, Leo Smith, Divine Love, Milt Jackson with the Ray Brown Big Band, Memphis Jackson, and David Murray, Ming Samba. All great records. Some of them better than others, of course, which is inevitable. But Pick Up, Dance, Divine Love, and Field of Kilimanjaro, of those 3, more so than the other 2. Cheers, everybody. Have a great day. Keep the records spinning.